Yes, sir. We back in action once again. Studio Vibes podcast session. Is it session 4 or session 3?
Session 4.
Session
Session
4.
four.
Session 4. See, that's why I'm getting. That's why I'm taking a break from Mary Jane. That's why I'm taking a break from the weed because my memory's starting to go. But welcome back. Session 4 of the Studio Vibes podcast. We here, of course, now joined by my beautiful and lovely co-host. Ladies, introduce yourself. Let them know who the people talking to tonight.
Hey, what up, everybody? It's your girl, Lena Rodriguez.
And I'm Karen Stephanie B. How y'all feeling?
Doing good. It's been a long week, y'all, and it's Tuesday. So I think it's the perfect time for us to just sit back, check in. You know, sometimes when you get to the studio and it's been like a little tense, it's been a little hectic, and you kind of got to get to the studio and be like, yo, let's just have a talk. Let's talk. So tonight we just gonna have a talk. Well, today, whenever y'all listening, it's tonight for us, but
yes,
we just gonna have a talk tonight. So how y'all doing? Lena, I know you said before that you got some stuff to get into. So what's going on? Let's dive right into it. I don't know the backstory, listeners. So that's why going on. You said
hold on,
negative this week.
So we need you to run that back a little bit, just because it sounds like you're running through a tunnel.
Why you just staring at me?
I didn't know if you could see us.
Yeah, I can see y'all. Y'all couldn't see me.
Yo, this is so funny to me. My bad.
Man, what
anyway,
is going on?
We good now, though. We good now. We can see you now. We can see you and hear you loud and clearly. So we good.
We see your nice haircut and all that. We see you good.
I appreciate it, but I'm getting Xfinity's ass.
B showed up looking fly. He was like, you know what?
Hey,
let's turn the camera on this time.
Like, would you say video today? Let's do it.
He showed up with his whole hair just did.
Believe that.
Yo, for one, let me just say, because I meant to acknowledge you last week, because you know, I be having emotional breakdowns every now and then, once a week, whatever. But right. You know, B's just always been that person that I can go to in the middle of a meltdown. Like, there's not too many people that I feel vulnerable enough to do that with. And you know, B always just talks me off the ledge. Like, it really isn't anything big most of the time. Like, I think for me, I wait to blow up. And so when I blow up, it's just a lot to handle. So then I'm like, okay, who can like walk me through this? So, you know, B's always like my go-to, and he always does such a good job of like just getting me back to the light and getting me back to a good, you know, headspace. So I just want to thank B for always being that person for me. And I really appreciate that, because yeah, man, he's heard me on the phone, like at my worst, like just full on crying, like just having a full meltdown, and he always handles it so well. So thank you so much for not just being like my partner in this, but being a real one in my life. I really appreciate that.
Anytime, man, we all go through stuff, and it's like, you know, and you and I both have been through a lot of situations that are similar to what you was dealing with last week. So, you know, I definitely get it. It's not easy, and I think that's the biggest thing, like you said, that I think that I've learned for sure in 2020 is communication. I used to be a terrible communicator, and I'm not even talking about when it comes to relationships. I'm talking about friendships, family relationships, everything. I just wouldn't talk. I wouldn't. If something was going on, you wouldn't know. You know what I mean? It was a point. I was talking to my sisters about, you know, just some of the stuff that I've been going through in the past few years, you know, just with my mental health and depression and anxiety. And I remember my older sister was like, yo, I never even knew. Right. And I was like, yeah, that was the point. You know what I mean? Like, I was so good at hiding it. I was so good at keeping it in. But you get to a certain point to where physically, I feel like physically my body was like, yo, we cannot hold on to this anymore. Like, got to get it out. You got to let it go. So I think, like you said, that's the biggest thing is the communication. I don't think we've ever talked about it too, Kay, where, you know what I mean, where you kind of just get to the point where you feel like you got to go off on somebody because, you know what I mean, they either don't listen or don't know how to communicate, and you know what I mean, feel like the only way to do this is to like go off, go bad on them, or however, or flash on them. And, you know, I think communication is it's huge. It's one of the little things, but I feel like communication is probably one of the biggest pillars that we have in life. And it's something that we all struggle to do. So for me, I feel like in this year and just kind of learning how to communicate with people, learning how to communicate with friends, communicate with family, communicate with people that, you know what I mean, I'm interested in on a romantic level. It's the way to go. I can't believe I did all these years of not communicating. So yeah, I'm definitely glad to be where I'm at.
Definitely. No, I mean, I hear you, dude, because I remember like a couple years ago, I sat down with myself and I was just like, you know what, like, what am I doing wrong? Because I feel like, we all go through bad relationships, right? But when we finally go through somewhat of a good one, uh, you're like, and if they do something so small or whatever, you expect them to read your mind. Because I was the type of chick back then, like, I would expect them to like know what they did wrong. And so I wouldn't even speak on it. And so I felt like doing that was more like adding more fuel to the fire, which it ended up bad anyway. So me, learning that and just accepting the fact that maybe I need to talk more and, stand up for myself as far as what I don't, what my boundaries are, and not letting them guess. Because I guess at the end of the day, no matter what, even if you think it's so obvious to the one other person that, they can see what they're doing wrong, maybe they really don't know it. So you just have to communicate and just let them know.
I'm now experiencing what it's like to date someone and set the standards from the jump. And I was very vocal recently with someone about how courtship is really important to me. And I think like a few days later, I got flowers. So I really appreciate the fact that like he hears me and he respects my standard and that he's able to uphold that standard. So, there's somebody I just met, obviously, but I just appreciate the fact that I'm being heard. Like that's so important to me. And I don't have to, while out to be heard. I don't have to yell. I don't have to, it was just like, hey, if you want to date me, like I need to be courted. That's very important to me. He was like, bet. So, stuff like that, I feel like makes a difference. Speaking up about what your requirements are and that you're, but you also have to give what you're requesting. It ain't no, take. Like it's a give and take. There's definitely a balance. So, understanding that someone is going to require certain things of you that are probably uncomfortable. Something today about how everyone comes into our life to teach us something, and are we learning? Because if not, we keep seeing the same cycle over and over again. And I've seen that in my romantic relationships, and I had to really like sit with myself and be like, it's you're the common denominator, so let's figure out what's wrong with you and what's happening with you. So yeah, I mean, I just feel like because I'm in a place where I feel like, I mean, either you love me for me or that's it. Like I'm going to choose me every time. So I'm just at that. And I finally am able to say that, and I'm finally able to do it too. So, it takes growth. It takes experience. Like, honey, I'm the worst when it comes to someone giving me advice. Cause I'm like, oh, okay. And then I go do the opposite. Like, I'm the worst at it. So I'm very stubborn. I'm very hard-headed. So I have to experience things myself in order to be like, oh, that's what they was talking about. Okay, I get it now.
I'm the exact same way. I was just telling someone the other day, I was like, yo, I don't know what it is about life, but I just choose to learn the hard way every single time. Like, you know what I mean? It'll be like, literally, it could be my mom, my sisters, whoever. They say, B, don't do that. This is what you need to do. They'll tell me straight, this is what you need to do. And I'll be like, nah, I just do what I want to do. And then I'll start going through some shit, and I'm like, man, my mom, how did she know? Like, how did she know I was gonna go through this? But to your point, Lena, like you said, the self-awareness part is very important, right? Because I think a lot of times we look back and we reflect and we be like, oh man, this situation was very toxic. This situation was very unhealthy. But at least for me, a lot of those times I would do that and not hold myself accountable for the unhealthy shit I was bringing to the table, for the toxic shit that I was bringing to the table. So it kind of took that self-awareness to, like you say, to be like, yeah, like that person did some foul shit, but I was like, I wasn't helping any situation. You know what I mean? With the shit that I was doing. Yeah, with what I was doing, I wasn't helping making the situation better at all. So, it's the self-awareness is hard because at that point, that's when, you know, they call that the shadow work, right? That's when you start looking at all of the shit about yourself that you normally would ignore. And you kind of, and I feel like it's kind of like the gateway to self-love. This is turning into a therapy session really quick, but I feel like once you can get through the self-awareness, it's kind of like the gateway to self-love, right? Because at that point, you've kind of already seen like the darkest parts of yourself, or the parts that you try to keep tucked away and hidden away. To love yourself, you can start to heal those parts of you, and you can start to move on properly, you know, with that self-awareness, and which leads to that self-love. So yeah, I ain't mean to turn into the therapist B over here, but yeah.
Oh, those are bars, B. Those are bars.
Right? Like he hella dropped some gems. No, we needed that to start this session, because I mean, it's really important that we love ourselves first. That's first and foremost. And that's something that, you know, I struggled with for, I would say, for the majority of my life, because of several different reasons. But that shadow work is real, and it's ugly, but it's necessary in order for growth.
Very.
I'm definitely not anywhere near I want to be, but I'm so far from what I used to be. So I'm okay with even not knowing why certain things happen. Like, you know how we run things back in our brain over and over again, and why did this happen, or why does this keep repeating, and why does, you know, and I'm just to the point where I'm like, you know what, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I just hope that I'm aware enough to understand the lesson out of every experience, whether it's good or bad. You know, I really feel like every experience in your life, it's not even a good or bad situation. It's more like you either learn from it or you grow from it. And that's it.
Right.
And hopefully you do both. So that's a way to start off session 4B, starting off strong with a word for today.
Yeah.
And you know what? We really needed
Got to.
Yeah, because man, today someone had to learn today. So there's this individual on social media who has confronted me and Carmen about racial injustice and how, you know, we stand up for the Black community. For some reason, like, it bothers him because he says, well, you guys don't speak up for the Latino community and blah, blah, blah. And mind you, I have a whole ass Mexican flag right next to my name on Instagram, on top of all the stuff I post almost on a daily, if not very often, regarding, you know, issues in the brown community. So
that's just not true. Yeah, it's just not true.
So I'm just like, why does he? So he tagged me, Carmen, and Baby Bash on some posts today, and me and Carmen, let me tell you, we dragged him like I went in for the little drag. Carmen went in and snatched the whole wig off. Like, she was not playing. And I just feel like that really rocked me today, not because I care about somebody's opinion, but it's just like, yo, it be your own people too. Like, it hurts when you really are doing your best to use your platform, whatever it is. I mean, I don't even care if I had one follower. Like, I talk about the things I'm passionate about. And for someone to come at me and be like, and especially like a fellow Mexican, be like, you don't speak up for us. And it's like, hold on, what? Like, it definitely, I would say first it angered me, but then it just made me sit back and realize, like, you know, you can go full length to prove a point, or to love somebody, or to show that you care and support somebody, but it doesn't mean that they're going to either recognize it or that it's even going to come back from the same person. So like, that's kind of a tough lesson that I'm learning right now, because not just from this situation today, but just overall, there's times when we love somebody and they don't love us back, you know, but I feel like the energy that you put out is so important, because that's what, and I believe we talked about this last session, so I don't want to ramble on about that, but, you know, I do just want to remind people, like, whatever platform that God blesses me with, I'm always gonna be on it to talk about unity. That's who I am. That's what I believe in. Like, to my core, I'm a Libra. Trust me when I tell you, I believe in unity and I'm all about it. So, you know, I just wanted to take a moment to, you know, shine some light on that, because I think it's really important with so much going on in the world right now, that we don't forget, you know, we can all make a difference, and it all starts with us, and it all starts with how we are able to impact our community. So yeah, man, that was just something I had to vent about, because it touched the nerve today. And you know, B, I can turn up. So Kay has never seen that, but B knows.
No, I definitely agree with you, Ange. I mean, like I told you earlier, I mean, I think that it's just unfortunate to see, you know, your own people try to, drag you and tell you something that's totally opposite from what you do on the daily. So it's just like, it's a shame, but at the same time, like I said, I mean, we're on this together. We're all, united. We're all connected in somehow, some way, the way God wanted us to do. I don't want to get all preachy with it, but I mean, again,
Preach.
I mean, we're all together on this. So it just sucks that some people have this mindset. It has to be one or the other, and it can't. It's not like that. It has to be all together to make some type of change in this world, because, I mean, it all starts with us, but
Yep.
it's unfortunate. I'm sorry you had to go through that. It sucks. But just hang in there, girl. And like I said, I mean, we know who you really are, and never mind those other people. They just want to. They're probably upset if they can't even make a change, and they're just trying to look for somebody to blame. So
I was like, I wasn't aware that I was the president of the Mexican community, but thank you for volunteering me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so social media has been tough for me to be on though lately. Like I've like, like intentionally have kind of made it a point to like stay away for a little while, and just because like you say, it's just a lot of, some days I'll get on social media and it's just the energy is, I'll be like, yeah, it's one of them days where we just stay off of IG, one of them days where we just leave Twitter alone, because I could just tell by the timeline's energy sometimes of like, okay, I see how y'all feeling today. I'm gonna go stay over here and let y'all deal with what y'all dealing with, and I'll come back later on tonight and check in with you. But yeah, social media is definitely a tough place to be right now. People calling people out, but at the end of the day, like you said, Kay, we're more alike than we are different, and don't even realize it. So try to take some time to be a good person, on social media today.
For sure. You know what? I'm glad that you brought that up too, because I did watch, I read this earlier, and it mentions 15 energy hygiene practices, and it does mention digital detoxing. I mean, I'm into like meditation and sound baths, time in nature. I went on a hike yesterday. That was really nice. So, I definitely do what I can to feed my soul and to nourish my spirit. Like I feel that if I don't take the time to do that, I lose myself. So I think that, people just in general, the more we realize how important it is that we take care of ourselves first, and how that affects the people around us. We forget that we can only hide so much behind a smile. At some point, like when I'm on the phone with B crying, he'd be like, Ange, just let that shit out. Like he just encourages me, like, just let it out. Cause I hold so much in, and sometimes it's so hard to, like you guys were saying, like, it's so hard to hold on to that stuff. It just becomes so heavy after a while. And, social media, it unfortunately, we can't choose what we see all the time. We can follow certain things. I'm really good at following, spiritual pages and positive pages, but every now and then I have these, people from my past that are toxic as hell. I love y'all, but y'all toxic as hell. And some of the stuff that they post, I'll be like, this is not something that I want to see. And I know that my diet is more than just what I eat. It's what I consume on my phone, whether it be via social media, whether it be internet. It seems like every time I go to search something, there's a little box there that says, this and this is going on. So then I go and I click on it, and then I go and I click on something else. And then I'm like, holy shit, the world's on fire. I didn't even realize it, So it's like we're living in this bubble, and the internet kind of exposes us to how ugly the world can be sometimes. And I don't know. Sometimes I don't even want to realize what's going on in the world. Like, let me get myself together right now so I can handle the chaos that's going on in the world. Like my goal is to be in peace through chaos. So it's not something that I've mastered yet. I still get very much consumed in the chaos. I'd be like I don't know. I don't know if it's entertaining to me. I don't know if it's like, oh, well, let's see what else is going on. What's, so I just keep going and going and going down the rabbit hole. But I know for sure if I am more aware of how these things are affecting me, I'm more cautious of like being on social media and like telling myself, stop clicking, girl. Like you've already went through 15 articles, like you need to stop clicking. So yeah, it definitely starts with, like we said, just, doing that digital detox. Like it's really important. So do you feel do you notice yourself like wanting to do it just out of habit?
Definitely. I feel like,
100%.
I feel like there's been like, I even noticed for a while too. I know this is a little TMI, but like even when, I would go to sleep or something and I can't go to sleep, I'm just like on my phone. Or if I'm like, helping my son with homework or something, like, and he's already, he got it. I'm just over here looking at my phone. It's just like, yo, you know what? I need to stop that. Like his time and my time is my time. Like fuck the phone. Like, and I'm still trying to work on that better. So, especially if I can't go to sleep. I mean, I need to get in the habit of like reading a book or just watching a show or just even doing something instead of being on my phone, because once I read something, it just sticks in my mind and it's really like I get consumed with it. Mm-hmm. But what about you, B?
Yeah, like I said, it's tough for me, especially after the first presidential debate. That was the most recent time where I was like, all right, we got to unplug for a little bit. Because in my mind, I'm like, oh, we head into a civil war, because the way these two motherfuckers up here talking, like, and the way that just our country is right now is just, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. It's the division is what's I think for me the division is like the hardest part about being on social media. You know what I mean? It's kind of like I'll come across people who I've known for years, and kind of see their views on certain things, and it's tough, right? Because it's kind of like, man, I fucked with you as a person, but based off of your views, based off of what you align yourself with, like I can't never align myself with that, just because like what it represents. I know this is not a political podcast and we're not getting political, but it's just some things that I just can't align with, you know what I mean? And just and everything that guy in the White House stands for is just whatever reason. Yeah, whatever reason, if you support that's, but at the end of the day, a lot of lives lost under his watch, a lot of lives affected. We're not even gonna talk about the families that he's destroyed. Yeah, I can't rock with that. So
yeah, it's crazy because
everybody go vote.
Yes, please go vote. We ain't said it enough on each session. I'm saying everybody it now. Go vote. So yeah, today I saw this post. It says lawyers say they can't find the parents of 545 migrant children separated by the Trump administration. Like, that's wild. That is so wild to me. I just couldn't even imagine how the parents feel, let alone how the children feel. Like, they have no idea where their parents are. What's going to happen to these kids? Where are they going to go? They only made the problem, the whole situation with immigration so much worse, because now we have a bunch of kids that don't have their parents. So to me, it's like that in itself, that issue right there should show you the big picture and what their missions are.
It's one example of many that.
Right. Like there's so much going on, not just in our country, but in the borders that most people are unaware of. And, immigrants are more than just Mexicans. So people know, I mean, this is something that affects a lot of people that are fleeing from their countries and they're seeking refuge from us. And how sad is it that not only are we turning them away at the border, but we're also taking their children from them. Like, this is a serious problem. This is something that we should really open our eyes to and realize how important it is that our vote is going to change a lot of things. Because yes, laws need to be in place to protect our country. However, I don't believe in morally how these things are happening. So yeah, it's getting crazy. It's getting crazy. And you know what? I think that possibly this stuff has always been going on, and we weren't as aware of it, and that's fine. I'm not going to say so-and-so was a better president or another person, whatever it is. It's if you have that much power and this stuff is happening under your democracy,
Your watch.
then why, then we really need to think about how we're running this country as a whole. So,
Right.
But the fact is that we are more aware now that these things are happening, and we need to make sure that these things stop happening. So, and ultimately it's up to us,
Definitely. And it doesn't stop with presidency, man. Like, especially in your own community, your council members, you judges, mayors, everything. Just do your homework on them. Like, I know I had a couple people call me for, to vote certain council members here in the IE, but I mean, I had to do my research. I had to do my research and check, because I don't want to vote for somebody that, they say, it's one thing that they're promising one thing, but you got to do the research and background and see what they're really about. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So if you go and vote, man, they give you a ballot. I think people should already have their not only their ballots, but like a book of who to vote for, and educate yourselves on that.
Mine's too far away. I would have grabbed it. Mine used to be right here, but I was gonna grab it and show the people. But yeah, it is time.
Yeah.
But oh man, heavy conversation. Let's switch it up a little bit. I know before we get up out of here, we talked about some heavy stuff. I did want to get to some music, because I think the three of us, safe to say that we are all excited about a lot of music dropped today, of course, but I think the headliner for a lot of us, me especially, as a huge Ty Dolla $ign fan,
yes,
the brand new album featuring Ty Dolla $ign, of course, is out. By the time that you guys are watching this, listening to this, maybe you've had a chance to sit with the album and listen to it. We haven't had the chance to do that yet. I know as of today, he dropped the track list. And I gotta say, first of all, I'm not a fan of long albums. But when one of my favorite artists has deprived me of a body of work for so long, like Ty Dolla $ign has done, I'm not mad at a 25 track list from Ty Dolla $ign.
That's a lot of work.
Because I feel like it's about to be 25 tracks of fire.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure. Funny enough, the last couple of days I have been listening to nothing but Ty, and I was driving. I was like, oh, I forgot about this one. Like, he's got hit after hit. So, I'm definitely anticipating that album. And our boy Daniel. So Daniel is our friend Z's friend, who we all started to get to know, and he's been around for a while, so shout out to Daniel. So he works with Ty. He's his official photographer, videographer. So
be seeing the behind the scenes.
Yeah, so Daniel's been behind the scenes, and he's been capturing everything, so super proud of him for that. But I can just imagine what it's like to sit in a session with Ty. He's in there with Brandy. He's in there with SZA. He's
Jamie Foxx. Daniel posted a video of him and Jamie Foxx in there the other day.
Yeah. So he's Ty's definitely been working, and he's been working hard. So I'm super excited about this album. How about you, Kay?
Definitely. I mean, at first, I'll have to admit, I wasn't a total Ty Dolla $ign fan from the very jump. The whole Toot and Boot It, and the whole what's that one song that goes?
Was it Paranoid?
Yeah, that Paranoid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was dating somebody and he thought that was his shit. That was his jump off, whatever. So that to me, I was like, I ain't feeling this guy at all. But then when that other album came, was it Free TC or
Classic?
Yeah. So I was like, what? Let me see this guy. Let me see what he's about. So those one song with Babyface, I'm a big Babyface fan. It's called Solid. That got me. I was like, okay, the guitars are banging. Like, it's just the whole track. And then I started listening to the whole entire album. I was like, okay, I'm sold. Like, I love them. But yeah, man, I mean, the track list is so amazing that, like we said, I mean, it goes from like Quavo to Nicki Minaj to Big Sean to Musiq Soulchild, even Kanye West. I mean, the list goes on.
Yeah, the Kid Cudi feature on there. I was like, okay. Curious to see what that sounds like.
Yeah, man. So I'm excited. I mean, really excited. And then I feel like the one that I really am eager, big Musiq Soulchild fan. So I want to see what that's gonna sound like.
Yeah, for sure.
That's gonna be great.
So story time. You ready? So
I'm ready.
It's New Year's. I'm gonna say it's like
I was about to share this exact same story. Let's go. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, B. Go ahead.
No, if I think when we were going to the club, right, and we're in the car listening to Free TC,
I still have footage. Of that night.
Because I remember I was going through something I was going through it at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And at that, and Free TC, there's a lot of album cuts that I love from Ty Dolla $ign. But one of my favorites will always be Credit featuring Sid. And when I tell you, we were in the car, I want to say it was me, you, and Z in the car, right? And we listening to Free TC and Credit came on. And when I tell y'all, I sang my heart out.
You was singing.
I sang my heart out so much to where Lena stopped and was like, yo, B, are you good? Like, what are you going through right now? Because you are like feeling this. Like, you're feeling this. So I'm just giving nigga some credit. I'm in the back going in, right? And she's like, B, like, what's going on? Like, cause you are like, you feeling this music a little too much. Like, what's happening? And I remember every time I hear that song, I think of you, because I always think of that moment where I was like in the car, like feeling it, singing it, and didn't even realize it. And you was like, yo, you good? Like, you good over there? Like, you really like in the zone right now. Like,
because I was recording it. I remember I was recording it and you was just in the back, just singing your little heart out. And I was like, I had to put my phone down. I was like, B, you good? Like, you okay?
I wasn't.
You know what's crazy is we turned up that night. Like, we definitely
we
turned
had a great night.
Yeah, that was a really fun. So it was New Year's Eve, and we were going to the club. I'm gonna say 2016.
Club Rome, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were lit. We were really lit.
Yeah, that was. It's funny because I was gonna share that exact same story, but right before you brought it up. So yeah, that's dope. Looking forward to the new Ty Dolla $ign album.
Yeah, for sure.
It's incredible. I'd be remiss to not bring up the Benny the Butcher album, which dropped last week. Phenomenal. Y'all know me. I love that hip hop, that rapping, that bars, just put on the dope beat and just go. I love it. It's 12 tracks of that. Hit Boy is in a matter of about 3 or 4 months has like seriously made me reconsider my like top producer list. You know what I mean? Like, he has been like on just a fucking tear of all tears, from you know, EP in the Big Sean album, you know, producing an EP in the Nas album, to doing this with Benny. It's just, oh man, he's been killing it. Shout out Hit Boy, because he's been fucking
on the map for that
killing this shit. Yeah.
Oh, he is from the IE. That's right.
Montana. Yeah.
Killing this shit.
Dope.
What's your favorite track? What's your favorite track be from Benny's album?
It's hard. It's what's the one with Freddie Gibbs? Is that was like the first one that stuck out to me. But as I'm living with it, New Streets is my shit. New Streets is the one I'm going to. And it's always a short song. I'd be so mad. It's always New Streets is like 2 minutes, and he gives us like one verse. I think he gives us like, I don't know. He gave us a long verse, but I remember when every time I finish that song, I'm like, you supposed to give us 2 more verses on this beat. Like, you was going off. Like, you weren't supposed to just stop where you stopped on this record. But New Streets for me, obviously, you know, y'all talk about crying, and you know, I'm a crier for sure. I definitely dropped a few tears to Thank God I Made It. That's an amazing record. The whole album is just, it's great. That was my only critique of the album. I felt like that Thank God I Made It with Queen Naija should have closed the album. I just didn't understand why that was like that was like the perfect outro to your debut album, I feel like. But that's like the only critique I had on the album. I feel like when my only critique is like, oh, you should have put that song somewhere else, you know, it's you got a good project if that's my only critique. So
see, here's my
shout out to Griselda.
I think the last song was a Legend, and Legend's a dope ass song too. So I definitely feel you on that.
Yeah, see, for me, I feel like I'm a creature of habit. When I tell you, if I'm stuck on something, like, I'm stuck on it. So I literally have been listening to nothing but Ty. So I need to realize there are other artists out there in the world, and there are other people dropping new music. So I will be listening to it. I promise. You know what? As a matter of fact, next week I'll be like hella late on it, you know, but I appreciate a good rap album.
No, but it's still relevant. I think it's just, you know, recently in the streaming era, we've come accustomed to like, you know, listening to an album for a week and then kind of moving on to the next drop of music. But I think there's nothing wrong. There are albums that I go to months later and I'm like, oh, yo, this is a good project. Like, this is a really good album. But we get so much music every single week that it's literally hard to keep up. And like you say, Lena, if I'm like you, if I find something that I'm just rocking with, you know what I mean? It was Big Sean was all I listened to for a solid 3 weeks. You know what I mean? That's all I was in rotation. So when something sticks, I'm definitely like, I'm just listening to that and that only. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for this Ty album that came out today. So I'm that's probably all I'm gonna be listening to this weekend.
For sure.
And also Nas, speaking about Big Sean, they're gonna drop the video "Replace Me," I think on the 25th coming out. So I can't wait, man. That's "Replace Me" and "All Bad" with Anderson .Paak. Man, that's my joint. Those two are my joints.
So funny enough that you're mentioning Nas. So you know how we're talking about how, you know, sometimes you just go back to an album that you haven't listened to in a while. So I feel like, you know, listening to Nas at this point in my life makes a lot more sense. And I was in Bali and we were listening to Nas and I was like, oh, that's why they called him Nasty Nas. Okay. So, you know, there's just some stuff now because, you know, when you think about it, Nas was out when, you know, we were a little younger. And I feel like now as an adult, I can listen to the lyrics and you know, just appreciate him a little more. But yeah, I realized why they call him Nasty Nas.
Definitely. I love the maturation of hip hop. I think you know, definitely I think our generation has been blessed with not only, you know what I mean, coming up in the 90s during the, you know, the quote unquote golden era of hip hop. But I think we're almost in like this renaissance era of hip hop where we're seeing all these artists from the golden era. We're now seeing them grow up in hip hop, which for me personally has been like so much fun to listen to, like a Jay-Z 444, to listen to a Nas King's Disease, you know what I mean? To hear like some of the greats as grown men, you know what I mean? Men in their, you know, 40s and 50s talking about grown up shit, but Mill's still making it sound fly and still connecting and still giving us the bars and doing it. Yeah, I think we're at a great place in hip hop and music today. I think these last few months of 2020, I think we're about to get a lot of great music. I think we're gonna hear from like the Kendrick. Big names towards the end of the year. Yeah, I saw a tweet from Punch today. Punch said Kendrick is coming, quote unquote, soon. So
I'm so excited.
That sounds like before 2021 to me. So
yeah,
I'm excited for that. We on the rack, but yeah, if y'all don't have anything else, I'm ready to get up out of here. I don't know about y'all.
I'm good. I'm tired. I've been driving all day. I'm not gonna lie. I've been like low key turning up for the last couple of days too. So yeah, I'm tired. I need to get a nap.
Yeah, you get some rest. You for sure get some rest. Kay, right, you good? You good? You ready to get up out of here?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, man. I had a long. I think I'm gonna light up a Palo Santo and just call it a night, man. Too many energies around me for a whole week. I'm good. It's only Tuesday, like you said.
Yeah. I was literally just doing that. Look.
Read my mind.
It's called Palo Santo, so it's basically like
it cleanses your whole aura. Like, you know, if you have people walking in your house or around you for the whole day or whatever, it just renews your whole aura.
Yeah,
and takes away the bad.
Chat off. I need to get me some.
Well, I do want to put the people on. So basically, here's my sage. So my sage, as everyone knows it, like cleanses all energy, good and bad. So I replace it with the Palo Santo after because it brings in the good energy. So, you know, it's really important that we not only cleanse our energy, but we also welcome, you know, the good energy and release the bad energy. So just a little education on how I go about just handling, you know, energies. Cause yeah, like Kay said, when you're around a lot of energy, it can affect your mental health. So it's really important that you know how to like cleanse it off. I mean, you can take a bath, but that can only do so much, you know?
Definitely.
Look at that. What other podcasts giving you spirituality, mental health, relationships, and music
and
all
ratchetness
in the same hour? So, but nah, I appreciate you ladies. We about to get up out of here. Until next week, it's your boy B Grace.
I'm Kay Stephanie.
And I'm Lena Rodriguez. We out.